I think we can all agree that the SEGA Dreamcast is a console that deserved better. It should have been around a few years longer, it deserved more success, and certainly should have put SEGA back on the map. Thankfully, the impact of this console was not forgotten, and now this machine receives more support than it ever had during its lifetime. For example, my Dreamcast runs games via SD cards thanks to the GDEMU mod installed in this unit, and this custom SCART cable has a switcher that allows for both interlaced video output and progressive scan video output. Before, you needed VGA cables to enable 480p. Not anymore. Thank goodness for establishments like Retro Gaming Cables and the wider retro community for making these components possible. It was more expensive than VGA cables, but I find this to be a great all-in-one solution, and to test it out, I will see how Dreamcast games look when both are tested in RGB mode and VGA mode. The RGB mode was tested at 480i Line 4X mode, and the VGA mode was tested at 480p Line 2X, known better as 960p. Let's go. I just had to test Guilty Gear X first. Known for its amazing 2D graphics, the game is perfect to see which mode gets the best results. Here it is at RGB via 480i Line 4X mode, and now here it is at VGA at 960p. While the game looks good with RGB, the Bob the Interlacing effect is not for everyone. If I had the FrameMeister or the RetroTink 5X, this would look even better. However, the clear jumping quality with VGA is so sweet to see. The difference is massive. I know some of you may not like how sharp the game is, so either use pass-through for 480p native or stick with RGB. For me, VGA and sharpness all the way. One of my favourite games on Dreamcast is Street Fighter III Third Strike. It's another 2D fighting game with great visuals. The difference between the two outputs is a bit lessened compared to Guilty Gear X. It's still in favour of VGA most certainly thanks to a clear and crisp visual presentation. However, I can understand some of you liking the softer look of RGB in this game, especially on a CRT display. I adore the VGA on Dreamcast, but choices are important and not everyone wants a sharp look to retro games. Tell me which video output you prefer. This PC to console port of one of my favourite games ever is certainly awesome to see enhanced on Dreamcast. Both outputs look great, but again, VGA really shines with how sharp the characters look. However, some may argue against this as the pre-rendered backgrounds don't blend in well with this new upscaled look. I'm used to it now and it doesn't bother me, but it could be something difficult to look past for some of you. Plus, the dithering is very clear with the VGA output. It's still worth playing regardless of the output chosen. Marvel vs Capcom was interesting to test. Turns out when using RGB, the game uses 240p rather than 480i. Yes, that means we can use the 5X mode for the OSSC and go all the way up to 1200p. The VGA mode still outputs at 480p as usual, meaning I used the OSSC's function to line double it to 960p. Trying to find a winner was very tough. I think the VGA was slightly sharper, although the aspect ratio was definitely not the same between the two outputs. Also, it was so hard to tell, I could be wrong. Maybe RGB was sharper in this case. Which one do you prefer? Dino Crisis is another interesting game to test. Usually, this game does not work or support VGA output. However, this patched file restores the VGA functionality, and now we can see how well it utilizes progressive scan. It is certainly sharper, but not by a huge margin. Could this be a side effect of the VGA mode being patched in? Or maybe the filter used in this port might also be playing a part? Either way, VGA is not at its usual standard in this title. Still sharper than RGB, mind you. Which output would you use for this game? I tested a few more games using RGB and VGA output, so sit back and see the results. I will catch you at the end.
The soul of Taki. You win!
Medium left, medium right. 70, medium right, medium left. No! 100, medium left. 50, caution. Oh! Champion right. 70, caution. Hey, right. 500, medium right. Checkpoint. 100, hairpin right. 50, medium left. 100, medium left, medium right. 70.
Ine-san. Ine-san.
Ryo-san, I'm all right, but Hazuki-sensei, I'm all right, but Hazuki-sensei,
My father? Fukusan! Fukusan!
Has been taken over. Troops have been wiped out.
What are you saying?
You're free to leave the complex. But you may as well know you have no chance of getting off this island.
And what about you? What are you going to do?
Troops have been wiped out.
What are you saying?
You're free to leave the complex. But you may as well know you have no chance of getting off this island.
And what about you? What are you going to do?
Don't worry about me.
You can feel the calm before the storm as the round begins. You can feel the calm before the storm as the round begins. Power wave! Crash it! Are you okay? Hostile wolf! Are you okay?
Get ready, fly!
What, little me? Step aside, son, you're bothering me. What am around? Here's a little strategy for you. Deal with this one. What am around? Oh, will ya? Step aside, son, you're bothering me.
I'm sure you folks can see by now why I love the VGA mode on the Dreamcast. It's sharp, crystal clear despite only outputting 480p, and it really makes the games pop. Well, most of them. Sadly, a few titles don't support VGA on Dreamcast, so RGB, S-Video or Composite will be required if there's no patched version of the game available. RGB still looks good, and especially with a good CRT, most of you will be impressed with the visuals on offer. Ultimately, no matter which output you use or what display to play the games on, there's a solution that works for everyone out there. What do you folks think of the results? Would you consider this SCART cable with the resolution switch functionality? Tell me in the comments, and I will see you soon.